This river was never meant to be a reservoir. It was sacrificed for a canal that never worked. I'm starting my kayak journey down the Ocklawaha River to see everything with my own eyes. The Eureka West boat ramp was the last spot where the river and all of us were truly lucky. Up to that point, the Ocklawaha is almost untouched. The farther I go, the harsher the landscape becomes. The scars run deep. The damage humans have done here is impossible to ignore. The most shocking sights wait near the dams. I can't show everything in one video. I can't paddle the whole reservoir in a single day either. This journey will unfold in a series, 3 or 4 videos. Moving downstream, step by step. Over the last 6 decades, people have gotten used to calling this place a reservoir. And in doing so, they have forgotten what it really is. This was never a reservoir meant to store drinking water. No studies were done to protect water quality. This basin was built for barges, and for that single purpose, an entire living river system was sacrificed. There is another tragedy that hardly anyone talks about. The land for this canal was taken from people by force. Imagine that happening to you. When the project failed, the land was handed over to the state. It became what is now the Greenway, including areas flooded by this artificial lake. It stretches roughly the length of the canal and nearly a mile wide. Every private dock you see here is illegal. My first stop is an unused lock, one that never served its purpose. Next comes the dam. I turn off the river and into the remnants of the barge canal. Even from a distance behind the trees, the massive lock gates look unreal, grotesque and oversized. In front of the lock, a huge island has formed, built entirely from silt and sediment. What was once an open canal carved by human hands is now solid ground. Trees grow here, grasses, roots twist deep into the mud. Nature is slowly taking back its territory. Only a narrow passage remains. The banks lean toward each other, slowly reconnecting. Soon they'll meet, and it will be impossible to paddle to the lock at all. If the dam were removed and nature left alone, the river would heal itself, quietly, patiently, and for free. In time, the entire canal would disappear beneath the trees. I've already seen this. I have footage from the back of the lock and dam where this process is well underway. I've walked other parts of the Greenway where the canal is barely visible, reclaimed by wildlife, alive again. What you're seeing now is one reason authorities periodically drain the Rodman Reservoir. The reservoir is suffocating under parasitic vegetation. This growth can't really be stopped because the water is stagnant. In a healthy river, these plants enrich the water with oxygen and provide shelter for small fish and other life. Here they become a problem, clogging docks. When the reservoir is drained, the green salad survives. The water returns, spring arrives, warmth follows, and within weeks the vegetation spreads again, as if nothing ever happened. So the response is always the same. The plants are sprayed with powerful toxic herbicides several times a year. The poison flows into the St. John's River. The river carries it onward into the ocean. Far from where it started, the consequences appear. This poison is one of the contributors to red tide, a cycle that is human-made, predictable, and devastating. I am now near the lock. Crumbling concrete rises from the riverbank, a silent monument to ambition and hubris. The dream of cutting a canal straight across Florida, connecting the Atlantic to the Gulf, goes back to the 16th century. In the 1960s, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers tried to make that dream a reality. At the time, nature was seen as an obstacle, not a treasure. The lock chamber and spillway were nearly finished, but the real destruction would have come with the dam. If it had been completed, the Eureka Pool would have flooded nearly 20,000 acres, drowning in silver springs beneath a flat, stagnant lake. An entire living system erased. Just upstream from the beautiful Silver Springs Park, there would have been another grotesque lock and dam. And today, lovers of Rodman Lake would be praising Eureka Pool, simply because they have never seen what it was like before. And yet, it never happened. In 1971, President Nixon halted the project. By then, it was only 30% complete. 3 locks, 4 dams, miles of canals, nearly $300 million spent. The project was already obsolete before it was finished. Thankfully, the river upstream from Eureka survived. Still, enormous sums are spent every year maintaining these useless structures, while ecological damage continues. Today, this land is public. The Marjorie Harris Car Cross Florida Greenway, a place where nature can still breathe, in a state where concrete advances relentlessly. This matters more than ever. After the lock, I paddled toward the dam. The channel is straight and rigid, scraped into the earth. A real river never accepts straight lines. Neither the lock nor the dam ever work. Behind them lie only stagnant pools, already reclaimed by nature. Today, these structures stand as ruins, a warning carved into steel and concrete. But all around them, the Ocklawaha tells a different story. The river survives. Life returns. Nature endures. When you're kayaking or hiking, do you ever have moments when you feel held quietly, completely, as if you and the landscape are one? Those moments bring a deep release from all the stress. Rain, fog, or city problems. None of it matters. This feeling can't be faked. It only comes when you're far from the concrete jungle. And I know I wasn't the only one who felt it. I could see it on the faces of the people in my group.
Isn't it awesome? Look at that.
One of the saddest sights on our Rodman Reservoir paddle was a manatee skeleton lying along the shore. Ribs, spine, and a few scattered fragments. Just weeks ago, some in our group had passed this very spot and seen a full carcass, still covered with skin. Now, almost nothing remained. Predators might have scavenged it, or perhaps someone took pieces as souvenirs. The manatee skeleton is very unusual. It's heartbreaking to witness a creature so gentle and magnificent reduced to bones. How did it die? Sliced by a propeller? Perhaps it could have been helped, but no one noticed it in the foul, murky waters of this so-called lake. Under normal circumstances, a manatee can't haul itself onto land. But with the recent drawdown, this part of the reservoir had only just become exposed. We paddled on in silence, the still water reflecting the sky, carrying with it a quiet reminder of how fragile life is and how quickly it can vanish. As I paddled down the Ocklawaha River, the journey led me to the first spring along my route, Cannon Spring, the one farthest from the reservoir. It felt almost miraculous. Many springs closer to the reservoir lie buried beneath layers of dark sediment, suffocated by stagnant, lifeless water. But Cannon Spring, it has fought back, at least in part. Clear water still rises here, stubbornly pushing against decades of ecological damage, as if the spring refused to vanish quietly. In the central pool, I counted 4 active boils, with 3 more stirring along the shallow run. Each one seemed like a defiant heartbeat in a wounded landscape, pulsing stubbornly against time and neglect. Approaching the spring, I thought about its past. If I am not mistaken, this spring was once called Wells Landing Spring, and it may have been a destination in the early 20th century. People came to bathe in mineral-rich waters to escape the heat and to gather and share stories. There might have been a bathhouse here, a social heart along the river, where laughter and life once flowed as freely as the water itself. Somewhere beyond the trees, there may still be ruins hidden among the undergrowth, barely visible, easy to miss. Perhaps they are the remnants of an old structure, possibly even the bathhouse people once gathered around. Time and forest have blurred the truth. On what remains, a sign reads, "Stay away." Lost in thoughts of the past, I filmed quietly, careful not to disturb the fine sediment carried here by the reservoir, trying to capture not only what remains, but what is being lost. Back home, I searched for more about Cannon Spring. Information was scarce. Every serious discussion of the Ocklawaha River mentions it. The springs, the history, the dam-driven destruction. What is rarely mentioned is its future. The fragile thread of possibility still clinging here. And that fragile thread is what I want to imagine. Cannon Spring is classified as a third magnitude spring and is part of a larger spring system, its pool serving as the main outflow. During warm water refuge periods, it could shelter 100 manatees or more. Its run to the Ocklawaha stretches about 700 feet and spans roughly 20 feet. But today it is shallow, clogged with sediment from flooding. Even the channel leading to it carries challenges. Fallen cypress logs create blockages, a subtle testament to how nature adapts to human interference. Minor dredging could reopen this lifeline. Perhaps then Cannon Spring could be more than a memory. Perhaps it could be a sanctuary again. Cannon Spring is also a cultural landmark. Any restoration must tread lightly, balancing protection with the human curiosity that has always drawn people here. And even after all the neglect, life persists. Fish swim through the pool. Quicksilver flashes against sunlit water. I noticed enormous tadpoles, nearly 5 inches long, darting through the shallows. Likely bullfrogs, unnaturally abundant because of the silt choking the spring. Even here, life clings, tenacious yet fragile. A reminder that the ecosystem is wounded but still breathing, still hoping. as I explore more springs along the Ocklawaha. I will continue telling their stories as they whisper their secrets to anyone who listens. Cannon Spring stays with me, not just as a place, but as a symbol, a reminder that healing is possible, even after neglect, that resilience can survive indifference, that hope sometimes rises quietly from the ground. One fragile, clear spring at a time, though always shadowed by the scars we leave behind and the choices we fail to make. Near the ruins of Dr. Strange's house, hidden on both sides of the river, lie two fragile treasures, a spring and a cursed window. Most of the time, they are invisible, not by nature's design, but because human activity has submerged them under a layer of foul-smelling mud. They only reappear during the rare drawdowns that happen every 4 to 5 years and last for just a few months. The rest of the time, this heavy, unnatural silt buries them so completely that even a temporary retreat of water cannot reveal what lies beneath. To find the cursed window, you have to leave the river and step onto the floor of the reservoir. The ground offers no resistance, only thick, sticky mud capable of holding you to the waist. Timing is crucial. The best moment to visit is a few months after the water has receded, when the silt has dried just enough and sparse vegetation gives a fragile illusion of solid footing. At first, I wasn't entirely sure what I was seeing. A spring? A cursed window? The difference wasn't clear. When I got home, I began researching, and what I discovered only deepened my fascination. A cursed window is like a window into a hidden underground world. A spring at one end, a stream crossing the surface, and a swallow hole at the other, revealing the movement of the aquifer that is usually invisible. A spring, by contrast, simply brings groundwater to the surface without requiring a visible conduit or collapsed structure. By these definitions, what appears in this video seems to be a cursed window. What first drew me in was the color. From the edges it looked shallow, barely a few inches deep. But that was an illusion. The deeper, vivid blue at the center hinted at the true depth. And even the seemingly shallow edges were filled with thick, choking mud deposited by the reservoir. The moment I stepped onto the bottom, I sank waist deep. Once I got out of the mud, I noticed sad wooden planks lying along the shore, placed there long ago to let visitors inch closer and peer inside. Someone had clearly been in my situation before. And yet, the deep, mesmerizing blue still drew my attention. Every step required care. Each movement stirred dark, rotten silt, and the boards were sleek and decaying, offering only a fragile sense of stability. It was easy to misjudge the footing. The mud extended beneath the edges, and even near the cave, the depth was hidden by sediment. This is why in my videos the water still appears significantly murky. It doesn't take much imagination to picture what this place once was. Before the flooding, before the reservoir, clear, vivid blue water, ancient cypress trees standing in quiet circles, no stench, no suffocating mud, just a living system breathing on its own terms. What remains now is a quiet, unsettling realization. Humanity imagines itself the ruler of nature, yet again proves to be only a part of it, and not a particularly careful one. My ongoing exploration of the Ocklawaha River in search of the 20 lost springs led to a sad conclusion. Only Canyon Spring and this karst window remain partially accessible. The rest have become stagnant pits of foul sludge. Many have not seen the light of day for more than 60 years. The reservoir never returns to a natural level. It only fluctuates, denying these systems the chance to recover. Some springs can still be located by coordinates. Others reveal themselves only through ghostly rings of dead cypress trees, or a rare faint pulse of water struggling upward through 5 feet of murk. And yet they are still there. Their stories are not finished. I want to tell them. I want to show where they are. And I will continue to do so in the next part of this video. Just beyond Tobacco Spring, the first thing I noticed was the pool. It sits close to the water, quiet, abandoned. Its steep concrete walls feeling strangely out of place amid the river landscape. Time has done its work here. The surface is worn, the edges softened, the silence heavy. In other places like this, deep forgotten pools left behind by people, explorers have found animal remains, creatures that fell in and never made it back out. Standing here, it's hard not to imagine what decades of isolation might leave behind. Bones, debris, fragments of untold stories, or perhaps just the weight of time itself. The pool doesn't explain itself. It feels less like a structure and more like a pause, where something went wrong and never quite healed. Just above the pool lie the ruins of a house known as Dr. Strange's house. Dr. Strange, a local physician, once lived here, drawn by the calm of the river and the simple beauty of the place. For him, and for many others along the Ocklawaha, the river wasn't scenery. It was a way of life. That life changed when the state seized riverside properties to build the Cross-Florida Barge Canal. The project came at enormous cost and ultimately served little purpose. Modern shipping routes quickly rendered it obsolete, but the damage remained. Scars on the land, disrupted ecosystems, communities broken apart, homes left behind. Dr. Strange's story ended tragically. He and his grandson lost their lives when their truck slipped into the river. A heartbreaking final chapter for someone so deeply connected to these waters. Today, the remains of the house are accessible during drawdowns, events that happen roughly every 4 to 5 years, when water levels drop and the river reveals what usually stays hidden. During these moments, the site can be reached by kayak or small boat, allowing visitors to move quietly through the same waters that once shaped daily life here. The river doesn't tell its history all at once, but during a drawdown, it offers glimpses. First, a pool, then a house, and finally, the understanding that what we see is only a small part of what still lies beneath the surface. clear. Wow.
Look at their teeth. One is bigger, one is smaller.
They're looking at each other.
Yeah,
Like it's like, I'm sunning, but don't get in my space.
it's not much sun, but it's okay.
Most Latin American countries have a class system. Right. So you're taught.
That might be a picture.
Yeah, American beater. Yep. Oh, it smells so bad, like a sulfur. It must be sulfur spring. No?
Not much water.
Okay.
Someone went back there, but there's a lot of weeds. Lake.
Yeah, you see this? It shouldn't be here, all of that.
Well, this hasn't dried up yet because it's got water here.
Yep.
But this is what happens over the whole lake.
Yeah, they said that whole thing. That whole.
Stories hide in unexpected places until we meet again on the uncharted paths.